brothers and sisters. This is Sabata with the EQUATORIA Advocacy Foundation. I'm the Director for Resource Mobilization and Project Management. Today, on behalf of the EQUATORIA Advocacy Foundation, I would like to discuss with you, the Equatorians, how to prepare receiving the three states back: Central, Eastern, and Western Equatoria. It's very important to have a heads up on how we would like to manage ourselves in these three states, and of course we are going to have all the counties that we had prior with the same political demographics that we had them in the past. So basically we are going to have everything retained back, but how are we going to manage ourselves? Let's have a heads up. It's very important, brothers and sisters, to do the following. 1, let us make sure at this time we are recruiting most of our young youth into what is called law enforcement and national security, and also to communicate to our representatives who are sitting in what is called Council of States, who are sitting in what is called the Council of the Ministers. Clear message, and including those ones in the parliament, that look, our boys who are getting trained tomorrow, next tomorrow, will have to be deployed in the equatorial area. They must resist and stand firm if those boys are going to be deployed anywhere. No, these boys will have to be deployed in the equatorial area. They will serve in these three equatorial states. They will protect the people of Equatoria in these three states, in these payams, or in the counties. This is very important. And why is this very important, brothers and sisters, fellow Equatorians? I want to assure you that as we are waiting for security arrangement to happen so that we eventually will then have transitional government of national unity, trust me, the state at this time in South Sudan, the government, will not be able to build security that you can rely on. Do you know why? Because our people are rooted in tribalism so much that training these guys in this couple of weeks is not going to bring about the nature of the institution, security institution, that you can rely on in your states. They are still going to be tribal, and for that fact, they are still going to be tribal. And when they are graduated, they are going to be deployed within your states. And if you don't have enough young boys who are security in the national security and also in the state police, you are going to suffer. So it's very important that we have most of our young men go in, get trained, and we have our representatives at the ministerial level, at the Council of State level, or at the parliament stand firm to see into it that the Equatorians get deployed to serve as police in their territories. And by the way, this is very important. And as this is happening, I also encourage that people who have background in law should come together and form what is called an association. An association in order to help recommend a system of courts that will take care of what is called the state jurisdiction issues and the county jurisdiction issues and Payam if necessary. But if there is no budget for that, then we can leave the ones of Payam or Bomas, all right? We can leave them, because happenings or crimes that are taking place or some problems that are happening within those Payams, eventually those Payams are within counties, all right? So whatever is happening within those Payams can still be heard on the county level courts, and the county level courts at some circumstances on issues that are a little bit more serious, then they don't want to pile up the files so much with them, can refer them to the state level courts. At least we will have a court system that will solve our problems and that will deal with issues within the equatorial areas, and we'll also have local law enforcement police within the territories of the equatorial that will deal with our issues. And once we put ourselves in that capacity, then we can always try our level best to kind of eject authority of the government back a little. That is trying to insert what is called federalism, okay? Trying to manage ourselves such that the higher authority will not levy so much administration on us in the equatorial area. And this is because the higher authority seems to be so arbitrary as far as governing. They don't seem to know what they are doing. So we, the Equatorians, we are better off putting some governing structures that are very necessary for government within the equatorial area. And once we put those structures, then we will communicate. It's all about understanding with the top government officials to understand that this is eventually it's going to even uplift some burden from them. We will be able to handle our own issues. We are matured enough, and we are very intelligent. We can do those kind of things. So we put our court system in place, and then we also put our young boys, our police, and our security boys into deploying them into taking care of issues within the states. That is the Central Equatoria, the Eastern Equatoria, and the Western Equatoria, who are going to be governors at that time. Hopefully they will look at this video and take this information serious. And I would also encourage Equatorians who have studied, those who are doctors, medical doctors, those who are engineers, to at this time come together and form what is called associations. And my recommendation, by the way, is, as they form these associations, they should not come together collectively as medical doctors in the Central Equatoria, medical doctors in the Western Equatoria, medical doctors in the Eastern Equatoria. No, they should just come as medical doctors in the Equatoria, all right? And then let them build what is called a healthcare system, for example. And when they build the healthcare system, then that system will eventually be used by all these three governors. The engineers should come up with, let me say specifically engineers for roads, okay? Road services and all that. Let them come up with a system of roads, okay? The network of roads, how it will be connected within the equatorial, all right? And when they come up with that planning, all right, that will eventually be shared by those three governors. Now, I know that the people on the top, of course, that's the federal, given they don't know so much, they don't understand so many things, they might end up seeing as though these are their responsibilities. What are these people doing? No, when the association, for example, the engineers who will be working on the roads network, come up with that drawing, come up with that system, then the governors will come. We'll share this with the top, with the federal guys, and say, look, we have made things easier for you guys. This is what we have for roads. Okay, our roads are going to look like this, and if you are going to, you can only do what is called connecting the roads to some other territories, because our roads are going to be masalan coming out from the side of Western, it's going to go through Central, it's going to go all the way through East, but then to connect them from there to go kind of north towards Jungulei, and then from there, of course, to Upper Nile and Bentiu, and then connecting some from side Beta Western Bahar al-Ghazal to go towards up to some of the to Warab and to Western Equatoria, Lahadif Mahalat Zenas, Northern Warab and Western Bahar al-Ghazal and Northern Bahar al-Ghazal, and also lakes. The government can pick it from there. If those guys don't want to put for themselves some associations that will take care of that, government can pick them up from there. But if those associations come up with those kind of drawings, and the governors simply just ask for budget from the authority on the top to only fund those programs, and the states take care of those programs, get those engineers who have come up with this drawing and see if they can hire some to come and work. That will be good. And that, by the way, this is how our engineers will find jobs, and our doctors will find jobs, and they will come up with the healthcare, and we build hospitals. And I think in this way, when we start engaging in such kind of activities, that is by itself an evidence that we are ready for federalism. That is an evidence. If we are now picking up to be doing things in that caliber, then we are ready for federalism. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to be allowed to run affairs within your states, what are you expected to do? These are the things that you'll be doing. Now look at the states that you guys are living in. Most of they are Kanta America, for example. Most of they are constructing roads. They're only getting funding from the government in only the routes that are running concurrent with what is called federal highways, like state routes, like I-80. You know, I-80 also has what is called state route from one border to another. I-70 has state route from one border to another. They take funding from the government in order to construct those things. They have their own judiciary structures within the states. You know, they don't refer every case to the federal. You see, they have their own health care within the states, and this shows that they have the capacity to run themselves. So we have to prepare ahead of time. You see, we have to get ready for those kind of responsibilities. And the only time we can get ready is now. You see, it's high time our doctors start coming together, our engineers start coming together, and I'm talking about you, the Equatorians, Equatorian doctors, Equatorian engineers, Equatorians who have studied law, come together, build systems, okay? Start knowing how you want to structure what is called putting together what is called the governing structures, and also administrative structures that are going to provide services for the people. All right, have that thing in mind. All right, it will be very naive to always just sit down and say we want this, we want a federal system, we want A, B, C, D, we want this, and you are not putting yourself together to be able to run that when you're being given the federalism. All right, because federalism is not that easy, and as we are calling for federalism, we must be prepared. We must have the capacity, you know, as far as the tools for getting services done, the tools for getting governance going. You know, we have to have all those structures together, and this is the time. So right now, as we are waiting to receive the 3 states, I would encourage fellow Equatorians to have this in mind, all right, so that tomorrow, next tomorrow, whoever are going to be the governors, whoever are going to be the state council representatives or council of ministers who are Equatorians, we must develop mechanism, especially we who are in diaspora. And I'm not speaking this only to those who are in the United States of America. Even if you are in Canada, if you are in Australia, think about this. We must put our minds together. We must develop mechanisms to communicate with our people back home, because this is a way by which we want to assert federalism. We cannot just keep saying we want federalism, waiting for somebody to bring the federalism. No, we have to assert ourselves in this federalism. We have to put certain things in place to show that we are ready for federalism, so that when we are now dealing with our problems within, we are putting our law enforcement officers are dealing with situations within the state. We have our courts. You know, we can always tell the government, the central authority, that no, you know what, we can take care of this. You don't have to come in. You know, and when we say this really with evidence that we have those structures within there. So this is the message that today I would like to share with fellow Equatorians, brothers and sisters. This is Sabata with the Equatoria Advocacy Foundation. Until we meet again for another session of a video, stay blessed. Thank you very much.